counting us in, and it's a Sunday night, and here we are. Hello, Musical Aviator and Mega Leech. Musical Aviator, greeting me with the news that someone paid a skywriter in Sydney to write Trump 2020 in the air, which I find absolutely hilarious. I think that's gold. I think that is... that's a chef's kiss moment of real fuckwittery. I mean, I actually don't know how much skywriters cost, but absolutely wasting your money in something so dumb and pointless, I think, is just a perfect illustration of the sort of fuckwit who'd back Trump. And hello, Invisible Chicken. Good to see you, even though you are invisible. I can still see you because of my mighty mind powers. End of another weekend that I just spent lounging about, and I'm happy about that. Because personally, I like to spend a weekend doing that. So had a date night and watched a really long movie about an Austrian guy who refused to fight for the Nazis in World War II. It said inspired by a true story, which I think means so much like, yeah, there were conscientious objectors in Germany, and they were vilified and persecuted, rather than this being a particular person's story. Though I could be wrong, who knows? Invisible Chicken looked up the skywriter. It's at least $3,500. They're brainless idiots. And you finished uni for the year, which is yay. What's my shirt? My shirt is Sailor Moon. See, and that's the cat with the things. It's one of those Lucky Dip t-shirts. I think this isn't a T-Fury one. This is another one that I got one or two from. I think they have an owl as their mascot. Anyway. Yes, so this is one I just got in a Lucky Dip of, the shirts they had extras of. Get them really cheap, but you don't know what you're getting. I quite like it. Good Spirit, hello to you. It's your morning. I trust your morning is treating you well. I hope your morning's treating you well. It's not a thing you can trust these days, really, is it? The days go well because of the strange times we live in. So I hope things are going well for everyone. It's got to the stage in Melbourne where we now think it's mundane to have 0 new cases and 0 deaths from COVID. At the same time, the US, I think, hit over 150,000 cases in a day, which is absolutely horrific, because the numbers point to the hospitals are about to hit critical. And that's when we get to triage time, where medical staff, and this is a really fucking unfair thing to do to medical staff, but the medical staff will be in a position where they have to triage and decide who gets treatment and who doesn't. And that's when the fucking death rate starts to ratchet up real fast. We saw that in Italy. Oh, nice. You got your laptop going for your booth photos on Instagram. Nice. But your main PC died. Swings and roundabouts. Yes. Oh, and it's Invisible Chicken's birthday this Friday. I'll have to have a little party for you. Happy 18th. There you go. Mega Leech death panels. Yeah, they won't have a choice. It'll just be I hope they've been training for it. I hope they've been prepping it for it. I hope they've got the counselling ready for the medical staff, because they're about to have a real fucking bad time. Because, yeah, what we learned in Australia, in Melbourne, in the second wave, and I think people knew this anyway from the first wave, but positive tests trail infection by a week or two. Like, people get infected and then those people with symptoms go and get tested and things. So the surge in cases you're seeing now is from Halloween, where everyone got together, which was a real fucking bad idea. And what we also learned is deaths trail cases by about 4 weeks. It takes people who are going to die anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks to die, if they're in intensive care. And if intensive care is overwhelmed, both the speed at which people start dying and the rate at which people start dying goes up real quick. And Visible Chicken, you actually get to have a party for your 30th. Very, very nice. These Gambit have been meeting people this weekend. That's nice. Someone you haven't seen since 2014, which is good. Oof. Yeah, okay. See, that's the problem with respiratory illnesses. You got a friend in hospital with a pneumonia infection, keeps recurring every few months. Severe pneumonia, which is what kills a lot of people who get COVID, ravages your fucking lungs, leaves you susceptible to illness for quite a while. Catherine, that is basically true that triage could be described as legal discrimination, because there seems to be a consensus. The first bit of blanket triage is people over 80, 85 simply aren't going to be treated because there's just such a high likelihood they're going to die. They want the hospital bed for someone they're more likely to save. And the harshness of the triage gets worse as the situation gets worse. And it absolutely is going to get real fucking ugly who gets treated and who doesn't as the hospitals get overwhelmed. So, Italy faced that in the first wave. Then they had a really pretty tough lockdown, which got things more or less under control, but I think they're having a problem with the second wave now. The US, just because of that, I'm an individual shit. You just cannot have strict lockdown work. My take is you can't have a strict lockdown work in America, or at least in large parts of America, and that's their only hope at the moment. And I don't see it happening. Big Pat, how are you, Wrestling Days? I'm doing fairly well. I hope you're doing well as well. Oh, Invisible Chicken, you mean you won't have a party here? You'll be having your own. You'll be having an actual real human party. That's okay. Sorry. Am I reading that 100% wrong? Are you saying this will be the party? Because I'm not real bright. Sometimes I miss the point. So. Yeah, it's it can get a bit confusing with me when I'm totally missing the point. But we'll see how it goes. Oh, good. I'm glad you're good, Pat. Nice to hear. Very nice to hear. I've been having like nana naps all weekend. Well, which means I've had two. One on. Oh, this will be the party. Oh, Invisible Chicken. I'm so looking forward to it. And I made a particular concoction for the second time that could be very good for your non-alcoholic drinks. It's a more complicated way of making a sugar syrup and I think it's actually what's in here with lemonade, just as a cordial. It's really involved. It takes a day or two to do the whole thing. Look, actually, I'll link you the thing. It's on the liquor.com website, but it's a milk clarified. It's a milk clarified sweet and sour mix. So you start with what we call an oleosaccharum, and that's pretty straightforward. Well, it's time consuming, but straightforward. You peel citrus, whatever citrus you have. This time I did it with lemon and lime. Previously, I've done it with like lemon, lime, orange, and grapefruit. So you peel a bunch of citrus, right? So you got all this citrus peel. Try not to get too much pith on them. And so you got a bunch of citrus peel, and that's all in a bowl. So you weigh the citrus peel, and whatever that weighs, you cover that with double that weight in sugar. So if it's 100 grams of citrus peel, you cover it with 200 grams of sugar. You can do a little bit of muddling if you want, but you really don't have to. It's time that you need, because over about 24 hours, the sugar has the effect of drawing moisture out of the citrus peel. So it draws these citrus oils out of the citrus peel. And in about that time period, the sugar will turn all syrupy because it's absorbed the citrus oil. So then you've got this, and that's called oleosaccharum, oil and sugar. And what you'd normally do to keep that simple, you'd add some water to turn that into a simple syrup, and then you've got an oleosaccharum simple syrup. This method that's on the what did I say? The liquor.com website has a more complicated thing. It's a part of a cocktail, a riff on a whiskey sour they call the St. Catherine's Sound. They call it the acid adjusted sour mix, milk washed. So, okay, so you've put the sugar on the citrus, left it for a day, it's drawn out, it's gone syrupy. Instead of water in this one, you add fruit juices. They recommend 2 parts grapefruit juice, 2 parts lemon juice, and 1 part orange juice. And in terms of the ratio, for me, I did half the volume of the sugar. So same deal. If you did 200 grams of sugar, you do 100 mils of fruit juice. Divide that into 5 parts, so it'd be 40 mils grapefruit juice, 40 mils lemon juice, and 20 mils orange juice. But you do it in that part. Do half as much as you did sugar, and 2 parts grapefruit, 2 parts lemon, 2 parts orange juice. Mixy, mixy, mixy. So it's all the sugar's dissolved. Then you strain that. Then you've got you've got a sweet and sour mix that's probably a really bright orange because of the orange juice. And I tasted it at that stage, and it was really yum. It's really zingy. And but then you do the milk clarification process. So you add it to milk, and it's about and it depends on the volume that you've made, but you want about 3 parts of your mixture to one part milk. So yeah, it's like say if you had I think it's actually 4 to 1 is good. 3 or 4 to 1. So if you had like let's say we're up to 250 mils of this mixture, you'd add that to about somewhere between 75 and 100 mils of milk. So it's 3 or 4 to 1 you drink to milk. You pour that in, and because of all the fruit juice, the milk curdles, and then you pour that. You have a coffee filter in a funnel, and you pour that through the coffee filter, and then the curds do this clarifying thing. I'll show you the picture because I took a picture of side by side. It'll probably look okay. So no, it's too bright. Okay, that's not okay. I'll share the picture on the screen. Actually, that's what I'll do. So yes, Arthur, I am the Walter White of making cocktails. There are people who are way more sort of technical and scientific than me. I borrow all these ideas from someone else. Okay, so where's my Facebook? Because I posted it to Facebook, and I should be able to find it. Here we go. I posted it to the Steve the Bartender cocktail group. So look, I'll share this picture I posted to Facebook. So see that? The one on the left that's bright orange, that's when I'd mixed all the fruit juice with the sugar syrup, the oleosaccharum, and the one on the right is when I had milk clarified it. So it takes a lot of the acidity out of the fruit. Obviously, takes a lot of the color out as well, as you can see. That's what milk clarification normally does. It normally strips out both color and the extremes of the flavors, or even the base flavor. So it tastes like sherbet. It's really good. I like it. And Helly and hello, Kirsten. How are you this fine evening? Stop sharing that. There we go. So yeah. That's a really good way to add flavors. And in fact, the whole milk clarification thing, I don't know if I've recommended this to you before, Invisible Chicken, but just look up oldie fashioned milk punch recipes online. And because they add things like, they steep the peel in it, and they have tea and herbs like cloves and whatnot. Look up something like Mimi's Milk Punch, M-I-M-I. Mimi's Milk Punch was a good recipe that I found online. And you'll see it's got alcohol. You either can just leave the alcohol out altogether, or you could replace the measures of alcohol with the non-alcoholic spirits you have. Or just use it, like as a starting point, and just go, oh yeah, I can put so if I put these things in that I like, and then milk clarified. So the only thing to remember, if you see guides that say you have to warm or even boil the milk, that's rubbish. You don't have to do that. I've done experiment. I've never had to warm up the milk. Works perfectly without doing that. You might also see guides that say when you add your mixture to the milk, and so you're curdling the milk, and you add the mixture to the milk, you don't add the milk to the mixture, that actually can make a difference. I'm not really sure how big a difference, but it can definitely make a difference. So you add your mixture to the milk, and you wait for it to curdle. Some say like you wait a really long time, like a day. And I tend to wait about 30 minutes to maybe 60 minutes to let it curdle, and then I start the straining process, and either put the whole thing through the filter twice to get it really clear, or what you'll find is when you pour the first bit in, it comes through relatively fast through the filters out most of the milk. But what you actually want is for the curds to settle, and they actually do the hard work of clarifying. So the first stuff, as it comes out a bit quicker before the curds have totally settled, the liquid that comes out will be a bit cloudy, or possibly a lot cloudy. And so you let that run through until it's slowed down, which means the curds have settled at the bottom of your filter. And then you kind of do a swapsy and put that stuff back through. Or you can just put the whole thing through. Point being, that process of running your drink through the curds, twice, can take a very long time. I mean, hours and hours. There are definitely times I've left it like overnight, because it really just starts to go drip, drip, drip. And even if you've only done a couple hundred mils, like, 300-400 mils, it's amazing how long that takes to go through if it's going through a drop at a time. So, but there's lots of guides online. There's lots of good videos. You'll see some people do it, like, particularly if they're doing it for restaurants, they'll do it with freaking huge batches, and they'll have these giant fucking filters, like cheesecloth filters or nut milk bag filters. So the more volume you make, the more hassle it is to actually filter it. Fairly warned be ye. If you make a big volume of it, like I said, to me, the least hassle is just a funnel with, this coffee filter paper, whatever the fuck is the correct way to say it. Filter papers. That in a funnel and pour it through. I find that the least hassle, but that holds a limited volume as well. So if you've made a big volume of your beverage, you'll have to do it in stages, and it can take a fucking long time. Tests your patience, basically. But good results for those with patience, basically. Safi, your grandpa does it with red wine. That's interesting. Milk clarified red wine would be interesting, because it would strip most of the... I haven't done red wine. I did Mrs. Angry's homemade wine, actually. But milk clarifying red wine would be interesting, because it would strip most of the color out, and it would strip the tannins out of the red wine as well. So the taste would be milder. Be probably quite interesting. So Safi, your granddad doesn't do the milk bit, just the dripping part. Yeah, I don't know if that's his thing. Has the temperature cooled down in Melbourne? It was quite warm. It is currently, according to the Bureau, still 30. So it's only supposed to go down to about 23. It's not meant to cool down. I might even put the air conditioning on while I'm talking to cool the place down before going to bed. Because fuck me, it's saying it's like still going to be 27 at midnight. And then it's going to start warming up again. Oh, and then it's apparently meant to cool down during the day tomorrow. So it'll be cooler, according to the Bureau, it'll be cooler, like much cooler at 8 a.m., 10 degrees cooler than it will be at midnight, which is fucking weird. But anyway. Oh, so it's probably not milk. He's probably just getting sediment down. So it's cooled down a couple of degrees here, not much. So, yeah, Invisible Chicken, if you want to get into a complicated way to flavor your drinks, milk clarification. I'm a little bit obsessed with it, quite honestly. So it's a thing I do. So I've been doing stuff with herbs as well. I had to strain out the rosemary that was in a thing, making a herbal infusion. So it's got a little bit of rosemary thing. I did see that, Safa. Brett Sutton, our Chief Health Officer, was refused entry to a pub or a brewery he wanted to go to because of their COVID safe rules, which, of course, he respects. I'm just playing with my focus. I feel like the focus is wrong. Now it's really wrong. Fuck me. Oh, there we go. No, I think that's as good as it gets. Okay. Goddamn software on this goddamn thing. Yeah, Invisible Chicken, it's fun. Look, I'll quickly put the link in This is a recipe, the link to the cocktail recipe on liquor.com. The only bit that's of interest to you is the guide for the acid-adjusted sour mix. And that gives you a good idea of ratios, but ignore it. They say to boil the milk. Ignore that. They say allow to sit and curdle for no less than 6 hours. Ignore that. And they say to just pour it through a mesh strainer, which you could actually. You'd have to do it several times. And I don't think you'd get an as good end result. And they also say to add ascorbic acid to taste. I did not bother to add any ascorbic acid. I just went, just the end product with the fruit juices and the oleosaccharum is, it's great. It's just this zingy, sweet, sherbety taste. It's really nice. I was quite happy with. It's the second time I've made it. I was quite happy with how it turned out, though. So, but yeah, just generally, if you're looking for ideas for, punch style drinks, look up the old recipes for milk punch and just leave out the alcohol parts or substitute them and use them for inspiration. Like you'll see the stuff that people have traditionally done, with herbs and tea and fruit and whatnot, and just use that as a guide and put stuff that you like in, and try the milk clarifying and get yourself a tasty, unique punch. It's a fun process. It's a very involved process, actually, and I'm just a little bit obsessed by it. So. Okay, so, I think Facebook thing can go away. Liquor.com can go away. Oh, that's an interesting one. The like I mentioned in the title of this live stream, that it's the anniversary of the Palestinian National Council declaring the Independent State of Palestine. Not the only controversial declaration of independence. Palestine's was 1988. In 1983, the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus declared independence, and that's recognized only by Turkey. Controversial day. Today is a controversial day. Good evening, Stella. Safa, is it possible to get drunk from green grapes? If they ferment, yeah. And popular supposition is that's how we learned about wine, because grapes left on a vine won't necessarily ferment, but they can ferment. And animals may have eaten fermented grapes on a vine and got drunk and staggered around, which led to the humans going, the fuck was that? Why are the animals acting like that? And so the humans decided to eat them, and it had the same effect on them. And they're like, fuck, man, this is good. Can we do this on purpose? And then humans spent several millennia experimenting with fermentation. Let's get fucked up, yo. I think beers were the more common, but basically sugars ferment. And there are still cases, there are some really, really funny stories that still happen. And I think the last one was somewhere in Scandinavia. A drunk moose got stuck in a tree because it was like apples on the tree had rotted on the tree, or they'd fallen on the ground and rotted, and they'd fermented. And the moose really liked them and was really drunk and fucked up and tried to climb the tree to eat more and got stuck because it's all drunk and fucked up. I find that hilarious myself. It's like the opium poppy fields in Tasmania, where a lot of the opium, for morphine, etc., for Australia's medical services is grown, wallabies end up in the opium fields and eat the opium poppies and get stoned out of their fucking minds, and then are too stoned to find their way out. So they're just sort of hopping and staggering around in these opium fields going, dude, fucked up, dude, I'm fucked up. A lot of food processors were probably accidental discoveries. Like I think the going theory about how we got cheese is someone was traveling and they had a drinking gourd made out of an animal bladder, and they had milk in it. Like, they stopped somewhere and got some milk. They were either a farmer who got it from their own cows, or they bought it, and they filled this bladder with milk to drink. And so they're riding along with this bladder filled with milk, and it's made from an animal stomach, which still had rennet in the lining. And the combination of the milk reacting with the rennet and the warmth and the shaking of the horse journey formed cheese curds, essentially. And the person got to the other end and went to pour a drink, and it went glop, 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 glop. Oh no, my milk's fucked. Oh no. And then some adventurous soul went, what's that taste like? I went, that actually tastes pretty good. I wonder what made that happen, and can I do it on purpose? And yes, over the centuries, we refined cheese making from a probably accidental discovery. It's just, people find out what works and what doesn't. And sometimes people drop dead because they ate something that looked good and it was not good. And they drop dead. So that is progress. That's culinary progress. It's the same thing. If you learn the problem with home brewing alcohol, particularly once you get into distilling, is if you do it wrong, you're making methanol, not ethanol, and methanol is really poisonous and will fucking kill you. So humans had to learn, and people still make this mistake, but humans had to learn how to not kill themselves when they were making their alcohol. That's in the words of Stephen Fry, cheese is a celebration of milk gone off big time style. Yep, that is basically what cheese is, milk that's gone off. And of course, then we took it one step further with blue cheese, deliberately cultivating arguably tasty mold strains in the cheese. Took me a long time to get into blue cheese, but I really like blue cheese now. But I was one of those many people who go, no, the cheese is moldy, I don't think I will eat it. But yes, cultivated the taste for it, and now I quite like blue cheese. I think a lot of the time when you're growing up, you gravitate to blander tastes or sweeter tastes or whatnot. And not everyone develops the taste for more complex stuff and more challenging flavors, but I think most people do. And some kids are amazing. You get some toddlers who fucking go nuts for food that a lot of adults are freaked out by. But people are different, I guess, is our message there. Safa, blue cheese, some people can have a very bad reaction to it. Blue cheese is not for everyone. Ooh, Kirsten, your fancy machine has a walnut and blue cheese shortbread. Yes, I think you do want to make it. That actually sounds pretty goddamn impressive. A walnut blue cheese shortbread. Yum-o, I say. That sounds good. Speaking of yum-o and things you'd probably like, I've still got one cocktail video to make. I don't have to rush because it's for Friday. But Friday is Gibson Martini Day. And I got everything to make a Gibson Martini. I might make it tonight. But I don't have to rush. But I've kind of got... Well, I'd have to go and put on my work shirt and tie and everything, which would involved me ducking out for a couple minutes. Invisible Chicken, your first proper meal was a prawn cocktail. Nice. I'm still not super fond of prawn cocktails, just the cold prawns and stuff. I mean, I'd have one, but I'm not that keen on them. I do like cooked prawns, like particularly, grilled or barbecued, like garlic prawns, pan-fried garlic prawns. Fucking yum. But yeah, not super keen on prawn cocktails. But whatever, go at one. Whatever, go at one. If someone did a good one, because I think that probably a lot of the thing with prawn cocktails relies on the quality of the dressing that's in there, and sometimes people make it with just really shitty store-bought dressing. But of course, people who are into such things can make a very nice dressing to go with the prawn cocktail, and I'd be more into that than just something that came straight out of a jar from a supermarket. It's weird for birds to be singing this late at night. I thought it was like a noise on someone's mobile in the house, but I didn't realize just outside the window there's a very vocal bird singing. It's probably not carrying to the microphone, but there is a very vocal bird, probably a minor bird, singing just outside the window. So it distracted me for a second. Oof. What actually happened in the world? Because I heard the bloody psycho Trump rally in America got a bit violent. Oh no, South Australia recorded 3 new local COVID cases linked to hotel quarantine worker. That's where it's going to come from. 80-year-old woman. Oh, that's not good for her. Diagnosed on Saturday. Woman in her 50s and a man in her 60s also tested, found to be infected. One of those people worked in our many hotels. That's where we're considering the source to be. Part of a very large family. 4 relatives are showing symptoms with tests results expected later. So they could have another 4 cases or more, because not everyone's symptomatic when they get it. The older woman lives independently, is in isolation. She's the mother of one of the younger pair. So now they're contact tracing everyone from that isolation thing. Damn. Oh, wow. And she visited Parafield Plaza in Adelaide's North while infectious. Dun, dun, dun. So, see, that's what happens, man. It fucking gets out. Stella, pan-fried yabbies in garlic butter over campfire. Yeah. Ooh. I'm a bit fond of that whole family. The yabbies, crayfish and lobster and crabs. I'm a bit fond of all of those with garlic butter, actually. So I hadn't heard that news. Bit spooky. South Australia having a teeny bit of an outbreak, which they'll probably get under control, but it's a warning. Let's see if there's news about this. Yes, Trump's sending all these emails telling people to give him money to fight the election, and he's just going to fucking pocket the money. It's hilarious. These rubes just give him money. They fucking deserve it. Oh, what's happening with the Georgia recount? Ooh, they gave a few more to Trump. That's interesting. 232 to Trump. But you need 270 win, and Biden's got 290, and you can't beat that. It's the last one. So Georgia's likely to be a recount. Yes, it is a recount. Okay. At the first count, Biden led by about 14,000 votes, which is fucking minuscule. This blows my mind. Out of 5 million votes, I mean, who could have, wow, out of 5 million votes, there's only 14,000 difference. How fucking divided, evenly divided can a state be? That is wild. God, just 5 million votes and almost a dead heat. That's really wild. Justin on Twitch, have I heard of that other outbreak? Is that the one in Adelaide that I was just talking about, or is that something else? Yes, Stella, the ocean arachnids. They are, people think they're like shellfish or something. They're more closely related to spiders than anything else. Oh, and Faye's on Twitch. I am good, thank you. Justin, don't believe the hype, I would say. You've heard there's supposed to be another disease coming, something else. Oh, oh my God. Oh, he's a comedian. It's called, I have no idea where they're calling. It's called Ligma. I have no idea where that's going. Why don't you just say it's called Bofa? Yeah. Oh yeah, Raiders. Brad Pascal ended up getting real unpopular. Blew a bunch of money as campaign head that got them nowhere, and so got demoted. I did see that thing that the fine print on the Trump donation form said 40 to 60% will go to their campaign debt. 100% is going to be stolen by Trump. It's just how he works. He's just a fucking grifter. Absolute grifter. And I mean, if these fuckwits are stupid enough to give him the money, I have to admit my reaction is, ugh, I reckon they're morons. So sucks to be them. It's just like the idea that Trump would do anything apart from steal the money that you give to him. And that's what he's going to do. Like everyone worried, oh, will he leave office? He doesn't have a choice. And he's now worked out he can probably keep this scam going for years, just going like, oh, they stole the election. We need to fight them. You need to donate me money so we can fight these communists and Antifa thugs who stole the election. And those fucking morons will keep showing up to his rallies, will keep sending him money because they're fucking morons. And he'll keep doing it because he knows they're fucking morons. And he has more contempt for them than anyone. Oh, yeah, Raiders. And that Build the Wall scam, which was so obviously a scam. And now you've got all these key players, including Steve Bannon, facing really serious fraud charges for stealing millions of dollars. But it was so obviously a scam. It was so obviously bullshit. But I'm with you, Stella. No, racist scum deserve to have their money taken from them. I don't lose a second's sleep for the fuckwits who go for these grifts, because the only people who'd fall for these grifts are an evil, hateful piece of shit. And I don't care what happens to them, because they suck. Did anything else happen? What do we got? Gonna lift the restriction on face masks in 1 week. We're going to get an update. Yeah, I mean, it's getting to the stage where it's a little difficult to say wearing a mask in open spaces should still be a requirement. Me personally, I'm still going to fucking wear it in closed spaces, even if they go like masks are optional everywhere from now on. It's like, cool. If I'm outdoors, I might not wear it, but fucking indoors I will. I'll tell you that for fucking free. Yes, it is the great irony that Trump, Bannon, all them fucking up Trump supporters more than they're fucking up Democrat supporters. It's really cool. But again, no one has more contempt for Trump supporters than Trump does. Trump clearly thinks they're fucking morons, but he loves playing them, and he loves the adulation. And he loves that they're so easy to fucking milk. But he clearly has contempt for them. It's quite bizarre to watch. So just thinking, should I make my Gibson Martini video tonight? I've actually got my gin in the freezer just in case I was going to make it tonight. Yeah, that's a good call, Raiders. Trump wouldn't want most of his supporters in one of his hotels because they're so gross. He definitely has more contempt for his supporters than I do, and I have a lot of contempt for them. But then again, I'm not playing them for fools. Like when Trump lies, he knows he's lying. Although narcissists have this weird thing of ending up believing their own lies. It's like abusers and manipulators and groomers and gaslighters. When they start, they know they're lying to the person they're manipulating, but they get so intensely into the lie that they often start to believe it. So they react really badly to being called on their incredibly obvious lie because they have actually started to believe the lie is real. So it gets very weird at that point when they've made up terrible lies to manipulate people and they fall into this thing of actually believing their own lies. And it's like, very hard to make any headway with someone who has convinced themselves that their lie is the truth. So when you recently had bronchitis, you wore a mask in enclosed spaces, even though you knew you didn't have COVID, or for the cultural change, you're not coughing any germs. Yeah, for fuck yeah. Raiders. Oh, yes. Yeah, you see all the pictures of Trump regularly partying with the Clintons, and the GOP, it wasn't the GOP initially wanted nothing to do with him. They aggressively wanted nothing to do with him. They threw everything they had at him, but their one big mistake was that they didn't believe he could win. Whereas you saw when the Democrats were threatened with a populist that would have pulled them further left than they wanted to go, Trump pulled the Republicans further into racism than they wanted to openly go. The Democrats understood, left to run as things were, Sanders probably would have won the nomination. So they threw all their power behind a single candidate really early on, namely one Joseph Biden, and he got up. If the Republicans had done the same thing, said, this right-wing, further right-wing than we like demagogue, will win if we don't have everything we have against him really early. They underestimated him and they paid the price. Yes, and that's a good point, Raiders. Oh, God, forgot the Steele dossier, because there's a thing they do in American, not just American politics, but they're very big on it in American politics. They call oppo research, opposition research. It's basically your own side does research into a candidate to go like, okay, if I was an opponent of this person looking for dirt, what would I find? And you try and prepare for it. Or if you find something that's too bad for a candidate, you just say to them, you can't run because we found out what you did. And the other side will also find it. So you need to get the fuck out before anyone finds out about it. And yes, the Republicans had done that research on Trump that was in the Steele dossier, and the Democrats ended up with it. Safa, the Republicans couldn't ban Trump, but they needed to understand the threat he posed, and they needed to, because they had that ridiculously large field that was splintering the vote. There was the people who were into Trump's bullshit. They just had Trump, and then everyone who was not into Trump's bullshit had their votes split among a dozen people. And as Trump slowly wore them down, like they dropped off one by one, it brought more people to Trump because people realized, well, man, Trump's fucking kicking their asses. They needed to, at a very early stage, like the Democrats did to Bernie Sanders, they needed to, at a very early stage, say to all the big name mainstream Republicans, one person's going against him. The rest of you fucking step back. And yeah. And that is also a good point, Megaleech. Trump has smashed the concept of behavior being too bad for a president. They know it doesn't affect the support from their base. It, in fact, strengthens the support from their base if you're an absolutely vile, disgusting, racist demagogue. And you just lie the whole time, and there's never any repercussions. You act in a corrupt manner, you lie, you be the most disgusting, offensive person around, and there's no repercussions. It's ridiculous. But it's the world we live in now. Like I said, the next one who comes along, who's smarter and more determined than Trump, that's scary time, because someone, like people say, is Trump a fascist? No, he's too lazy to be a fascist. He has very authoritarian tendencies. He's a raging narcissist, but he's not a fascist per se, but he's completely okay with people pushing a fascist white supremacist agenda. Doesn't bother him in the slightest. So when you get someone who is more in the mold of an old school fascist, someone who is determined to seize power and overthrow the basis of democracy, Trump's opened the door to show that, well, you can just fucking do it, man. You can just do it. And there is a frighteningly large chunk of the American population who will just embrace it and will be all for it. So, damn. The future does not look very good. Unless, look, I have no idea how focused, how effective, how practical the Biden administration will be. But on top of, like, okay, he's said the right things about wanting to take strong action on climate change and yada yada. But on a more pragmatic front, they need to put a huge effort into rebuilding American democracy. Basically, all the scummy shit the Republicans have done for the last couple of decades with voter suppression and gerrymandering and stacking the courts and whatnot, the Democrats have to work really hard, really fast to undo that. Because in a fair election, as it stands, Republicans wouldn't stand a chance. But the Republicans have spent a couple of decades basically destroying the concept of a fair election. So that's got to be one of the, it's my personal opinion, it's got to be one of the big agenda items for the Democrats if they don't want a really scary, effective fascist to come to power as a Republican. They need to show when someone acts in a disgusting way, they actually pay an electoral price for that. And hello, Filancila. So if there is a challenge in the Senate for Biden, that is true. But yes. And yes, Stella, you know for a fact there's a more intelligent actual fascist really eager to step into the role that Trump created. Because again, they will have seen there is a really strong possibility you could introduce really totalitarian rule into America and be welcomed with open arms by a frighteningly large chunk of the population. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit weird. Oh, right, you're right. It doesn't matter that Biden worked with Republican senators before. They have adopted a policy of being absolute cunts, and there's nothing. They're liars and scumbags and absolutely untrustworthy. There's the tiny, slim chance, because they're doing that runoff election for Senate seats in Georgia. If the Democrats won both of those Senate seats, they actually would have numbers in the Senate to pass legislation. So be wait and see type of thing. It's a tiny chance, though. Yep, Stella, it's hard to avoid thinking all Trump did was lay bare what's really happening in the minds of a really big chunk of the American electorate. Overwhelmingly white people, but by no means only white people. A lot of non-white people, for whatever reason, see benefit for themselves in totalitarian ways. Remember what I said about it being warm here? I'm going to switch the air conditioning on. Just on low. I don't want to freeze. I'll just be a second. Let me go out here. Okay. Hopefully that's going to cool things down in here. Whew. So, Megalich, you also raise a good point about the two-term rule isn't as strict as a lot of people think it is. Yeah, you just need a Putin-style character to just change the rules. And it is not impossible. It's not the most likely scenario, but it's not impossible. Still, you reckon Donnie would, if he'd have won a second term, he would have tried for a third? I reckon you are actually right. I think that would be a realistic approximation. I got up and I was like, oh, God, I feel tired. I'm still thinking of, oh, yes, the air conditioner. I just feel it really gentle. I didn't turn it on high. Just a really gentle, cool breeze waft over me now. Much better. I should have got up. I'm tired. I'm old. Like I said, I had a nana nap today, and I had one yesterday as well. But then again, on Friday night, I did stay up till 2 a.m. And got up at about 8, so I didn't sleep in that much. So yesterday's nana nap was understandable. But, last night I went to bed about 10:30 and, got up about 8:30. So, I wasn't deprived of sleep last night. But who knows? And then tomorrow's Monday. I wonder how many meetings I have tomorrow. Oh, well, I'll save that little bit of excitement for tomorrow, finding out how many, because I don't remember, but I think I have a couple of meetings. I have my regular morning meeting, which they make me get out of bed. But anyway, Radies, you wanted the Secret Service to have done us a favor 4 years ago. They should have let that eagle. Remember when Trump was shooting? I think he was going a photo shoot for an ad or something with an American eagle, and it attacked him. That was fucking hilarious. they should have just let that fucking eagle maul him. Ooh, that's an interesting bit of trivia, Safa. The PlayStation 1 is 25 today. So the PlayStation 5 came out on the 25th anniversary. Oh, you go, Invisible Gene. You went to bed at 10:30, got up at 8:30. Yeah. And you had to lie down as well? See, I'm not alone. Ah, nice. Stella been out bush drinking and shagging all weekend, so no sleep, but you've got tomorrow off. That's an excellent use of time. Excellent use of time. I'm on board with it. Yeah, but basically I was thinking, it's fine. I was going to make that Gibson Martini, but it's a higher I was going to make it with overproof, like Navy strength gin, and because a Gibson Martini is nearly all gin. It's just like a splash of vermouth. Guess now, okay, we all have lie downs. I like it. Feelings, if you think Trump's football should be turned off and it depends. Yeah, well, Trump can't launch any strike on his own word. And I think at the moment, the Joint Chiefs of Staff will all be having little words to each other like, okay, he's probably not going to do anything stupid, but we all agree we won't do anything just on his say-so because he's a fucking lunatic. And he's just spent so much time vilifying the military, and they don't forgive shit like that. But yeah, so if I make a Gibson Martini, it's like 2 and a bit ounces, so like 70 mils or more of Navy strength gin and just a splash of vermouth and some cocktail onions. The cocktail onions are what makes it a Gibson, which is, I don't know. That's a fucking stretch to go. Okay, with no garnish or an olive or a lemon twist, it's just a dry martini. But if you put cocktail onions, it is now a Gibson Martini. So it's like, okay, it's a bit tenuous for saying that's a whole different drink, but that's what it is. Nice. Yes, you said you went to Wollongong, bought a lot of bottles. You do have a new Navy strength gin. Nice. Well, I will soon have the Archie Rose. Probably arrive early, mid. I don't know how good post between New South Wales and Victoria is at the moment. Might take longer. Might take. I don't know. It could arrive real early. It might take a week or more. It's just weird. I feel too, the cocktail's named after a musical instrument like a Gibson Les Paul or a Fender Stratocaster. Almost definitely. Are there any classics? That I don't know. I've got cocktails named after musical instruments. Cocktails. No classics leap out at me. There's a xylophone cocktail. Cocktails named for rock stars. King Cohen, named after Leonard Cohen. A Scotch simple syrup, Fernet Branca. So that's just an old-fashioned with Fernet Branca instead of bitters. The David Bowie chocolate liqueur, bourbon, and an orange wedge. And that's mostly chocolate liqueur. Jesus. Okay. Ugh. Okay. I'm not enamored of that. Or a Rob Zombie, which would be a riff on a zombie, I suppose. Midori, Malibu, orange juice, pineapple juice. Okay, that's like shit. And then there's a goth one. No, those are all pretty boring, honestly. A xylophone, cocktail names, cocktail bombardino. So the short answer is no, not really. Definitely no classics named after. It's Freddie Mercury inspired cocktails, literary cocktails. Yeah, short answer is no. Natalie, are you in Wollongong? Yeah, because Kirsten went to Wollongong, visited some distilleries, got listening. Raiders, an Archie Roach. Yes, I think Archie Rose should have an Archie Roach cocktail because he is a bit of a legend. Stella, you found a good side to being a manager. You know when to not smoke weed because you schedule the drug tests. Nice. Yes, there is a marimba cocktail, Invisible Chicken. I thought he was asking more about guitars and whatnot. Feelings, Sheila, what's sex on the beach made of? Sadness and disappointment is what a sex on the beach is made of. Oh, Angelina, you're a shots person. I am not so much. I mean, there are good shots and whatnot, but I do tend to take my time with a cocktail, and shots aren't really about taking your time. But, you know, to each their own. Thanks. On the beach. So a traditional sex on the beach cocktail. Steve the bartender's version. What's this? Vodka, peach liqueur, orange juice, cranberry juice. So, what does liquor.com say? Vodka, peach schnapps, Chambord, orange juice, cranberry juice. So yeah, it seems to be the base is orange juice, peach schnapps, orange juice. Sorry, so vodka, peach schnapps, orange juice, and cranberry juice. That's sex on the beach. Very 80s in my mind. Yes, that's the other thing. Sex on the beach, crevice, sand in your crevices, and regret. Raiders and Stella had the same thought. Ooh, Angelina, the person of action. Time is the most expensive currency in the world. Don't waste it. Yes, my only trouble is if you do a bunch of shots, then you'll black out and waste a lot of time. Whereas I enjoy the moments. To me, cocktails are about enjoying the moment and reveling in it. Natalie, you had a sex on the beach on your 18th birthday. The only time you've had it. Cocktail. You did say cocktail. Yes. You were not just boasting of having sex on the beach at your 18th birthday. It was the cocktail. I want to make that clear. So, but I mean, you know, everyone's to their, yeah, I think, Safra, I agree, cocktails are a fun night out. But, you know, to each their own. Some people like beer or some people like wine. Some people like a beer and a shot, and you know, more power to you. Whatever me, I like the reason I like a good cocktail will have a whole range of flavors. It goes down, and even something like a martini that's very heavy on the gin. If you use a good gin, you're still going to get multiple flavors going down because of all the different botanicals that are in it. So, Angelina, no sand if you're on top of the guy. Oh, you've got a lot of faith in your control of physics in that front. I mean, get a bit active and sand can get thrown up. You want a good... you want a good beach towel or beach mat down under you, really. Kirsten, oh, yes, actually, whiskey and beer in the glass, like cocktail, a Boilermaker. I think traditionally people like to do that with Guinness. Guinness with whiskey as a Boilermaker. Yes. Stella, there is a reason sand in your vagina is an expression of irritation. But I forget what the novel was, but I remember, lots of mainstream novels have naughty bits in them, and they had a naughty bit where the lead characters are having sex on the beach, and then they both kind of realize there's a grain or two of sand in there, and they're both trying to ignore it for a minute or so, and then they both go, "Yep, no, can't ignore that." And so they have a bit of fun. The guy pulls out, and the woman's doing a minute inspection of his dick and go, "There's the grain of sand, and there's the grain of sand, and there's the grain." And they go, "Okay, I think we're ready to go. Got rid of the grains of sand." And the guy slips and actually falls dick first into the sand. So his whole crotch is just covered in sand. And they're like, "Okay, well, I suppose that's it for tonight then. There's no turning back from that." I just thought I'd share with you a sex passage that I remember. I don't even remember the novel. I just remember that happened in it. Invisible Chicken went to Manor Bar about 10 years ago. Yes, the video game bar. I've been there. Shots were based on video game stuff. Yeah, they do cocktails and shots based on video game stuff. Mana potions, hit point potions. It was saying there was a discussion. They have to move. Abigail, I think, knows the people who run Manor Bar, and their landlord fucking pulled the rug out from under them during COVID, and so they're in the process of relocating. Because it was, if we're talking about the same place, upstairs is an actual shop with role-playing games, tabletop games, etc., and then downstairs is the nerd bar with nerd-themed drinks, and they also have games down there. So, Kirsten, you're saying they're not together in the glass, just drunk simultaneously, and you don't shot the whiskey unless you're drinking shit whiskey. Okay, see, because I don't drink beer, and I'd always just assumed a Boilermaker, the whiskey's actually in the beer. Because as soon as someone says cocktail with beer, I'm like, ew, no, thank you, no. Invisible Chicken Manor Bar was a video game bar. Okay, must be a different place. Oh, you know what I'm talking about, Angelina. Yeah, the place with the nerd bar downstairs and the gaming shop upstairs, yeah. Stella, Homer and Marge parodying that old movie which escapes me. Homer saying, "I've got sand in my pants." Marge says, "Me too, let's go." Yes. Oh, okay, yeah, we are talking about a different thing. Invisible Chicken closed down Brisbane 2015, Melbourne 2013. Okay, we are talking about a different thing. That's okay. Feather and Sealer got up to misadventures up a tree with a girl, got a bunch of scrapes and bruises when you found out, but you did manage to finish first. Lol. Yep, no, well done. Actually, you know what? I think I will I just am in the urge to make this Gibson Martini, which means I have to disappear for a minute and go and put my shirt on. But I'm sure you can entertain yourself. This will only take a minute. I'll dash out and put a shirt on and come back. All right, quick as I could. Semi-prepared now. Okay. Oh, how about that sports ball, indeed. Oh, see, I've led you astray, Kirsten. You want to make a martini too. Oh, yes, that's another good conversation topic, Angelina. How about that weather location? Right. So, Gibson Martini for next Friday. What's the date next Friday? Of course, it's the 20th because it's after Friday the 13th. World Gibson Martini Day. Okay, so there's a Gibson bar. Okay. All right. So Marion Becky, founder of the Gibson Bar in London, declared this to be Gibson Martini Day because that's the anniversary of the opening of the bar. And he likes the Gibson because it's a savory drink because it's got the cocktail onions in it. So yes, popular folklore is that the early 20th century Charles Gibson, who is famous for his Gibson Girl illustrations, visited the Players Club in New York and said, you know, make a martini better. And apparently the solution to that was put a cocktail onion in it instead of what do you call it? Olive. I blanked just for a second there on what I was saying. So yes, it's just a dry martini with cocktail onions. You love the Borderlands mask? Where's up there? Yes, I like it too. Ha! Abigail, you downloaded the movie She's the Man just to annoy your son. Nice. Trolling the offspring. The thing we have to do. Yeah, Angelina, my son got that at a PAX event, I think, like a year or two ago. And he knew I liked Borderlands, so he gave it to me. Most people find it a very threatening mask, actually, if you wear it. Oh, no, Kirsten cracked a mixing glass. Need a new one. Definitely need a good mixing glass. Well, I'm not even going to mix this one because I had the gin in the freezer. So I'm just going to gin straight in a martini glass. And put a splash of vermouth in. And that's it. All right. No, I feel like I got ready quickly. Okay, I just need to make sure my camera's... I did actually bring the camera in because I thought I might do this. Let's get that happening. Oh, I've got a bloody... Let's get rid of reflection. I've got to put my bloody manky blind up. Right, there we go. Let's do this. We'll see if that's framed up right. I think I framed it up right before I started. Oh man, that's too fucking bright. I gotta dim my fucking ring light a bit. It's a bit better. Let's try that. I'm gonna go blind staring at that ring light. Yep, that looks all correct. Oh, look. Bloody hell. Look what's happened there. I can improve that somewhat. Let me look totally fucking alien. Where are we? Come on. Do that. There we go. Auto it. I look very sepia because there is actually an orange filter on that. Because I look really pale without it. And yeah, so I've changed the white balance, but that's auto on my video camera. So that's good. Okay, that's ready. That's ready. Oh wait, where's my fucking audio recorder? I forgot my audio. Need the sound. All right. Might move that a bit. Put my audio recorder there. Oh, find my cocktail onions. I'm gonna put them in the fridge. I think. Someone fucking moved my cocktail onions. Fuck. There they are. No, they aren't. Fuck. The fuck. Where are they? God damn it. Someone moved my shit. We got garlic. Pasta sauce. God damn it. I'm starting to get annoyed now. What's that? Fucking. Oh. Okay. Blaming everyone else. And the jar was actually just smaller than I remembered. Ugh. What am I doing? All right. Abigail, does anyone know free private live streaming services so I can stream movies to friends without copyright issues? Your trouble with that... Actually, you know what you could do, Abigail? StreamYard. Wait a second. Let me just do something here. I'll stand up. You could do that with StreamYard because StreamYard has a function where you set up a live stream, but it doesn't go to any platform. It's just so you can record it. And so you set it up, you'd have a link, and it'd be very low res sharing with people. But you could do it. Yeah, no, you could absolutely do it. It would be somewhat low res sharing, but you could definitely do it with StreamYard. You just don't actually stream it to any platform. You choose the option that says record only and give people the link to come in, and then you can all be there and chatting. So Netflix party is now Telly party. Okay. Yeah, so Abigail, I'd actually recommend StreamYard. So there you go. All right. So, get this out of the freezer. Cookie Americano. Larkins way. God, I think the lid froze on. What are we doing here? Bloody hell. Can't get the lid off. I think it froze on. Let's make grip up. Grip up. Come on. That worked. Okay. I got a that. I got a this. Oh, nice. Kirsten, you're also making a Brogan's Way Gibson. Excellent. My martini glass. Sorry, my martini glass is too big, but you know what? I'll do it anyway. All right. This is not too fussy. Should be relatively quick. Okay. What do we got? We got that working. God, we got this working. All right. G'day, cocktail lovers. I hope you've been keeping well. I hope in this weird, out of control world we're in at the moment, things are staying at least relatively under control for you. But as I make this is for the weekend. Why not start the weekend with a bang? Because it's Gibson Martini Day. This was actually declared to be so a couple of years ago by the owner of the Gibson Bar in London, named after the famous drink, which was in turn named after one Charles Gibson, who's most famous for a style of illustration called Gibson Girls. And you would definitely know it if you saw it, I think, because I've often seen them being used in memes. So that's how the current generation will be aware of Gibson Girls. Whether they're aware that they're aware because they will have seen them in memes. But anyway, Gibson was quite famous for a couple of things. The Gibson Girls is probably his enduring legacy. And the story goes, although there's no hard and fast, solid proof of this, the story goes, he was in a bar and said he wanted, make a martini for me, but better. And the big breakthrough was use cocktail onions, not olives. So there is nothing flash. A Gibson martini is simply a very dry martini, like at least the ratio of gin to vermouth, at least 8 or 9 to 1, even 10 to 1, depending how you want to go, and some cocktail onions. And don't be gauche, use the white ones, not the green or the red ones. So, given it's Gibson Martini Day, and good old martini is a good way to start the weekend, let's go. Besides the ratio of gin to vermouth and what garnish to use, you do get a bit of a kerfuffle about, hey, is a martini shaken or stirred? Which is ridiculous. That was only clouded by the James Bond stories. Martinis are stirred, okay? Not shaken. And all you want to do with the stirring is to maybe dilute it or chill it. Maybe you don't want to dilute too much. You could do what I did. Keep your gin in the freezer. No stirring. That throws that whole argument out the window. No stirring or shaking because the gin's been in the freezer. And again, like I said, it's very dry ratios. So it's going to be about 9 or 10 to 1. So essentially, I'm going to do a bit over 2 ounces, a bit over 6, maybe as much as 70 mils of gin. And just to be wild and wacky, I'm using Brogan's Way. This is their Navy strength. They call it Southern strength. What's it clock in at? 57.2% alcohol. So not that outlandish, but considerably stronger than your average gin. And I am going to put somewhere in the region of 70 mils straight into my glass. That's not vermouth. What was I thinking? I should have used a smaller glass. I just happen to have a really large martini glass, but that's a pretty generous serve of gin, and it looks a bit mean, but it's generous. I'm not even going to bother to measure the vermouth as I put in. I'm using a semi-dry Regal from Regal Rogue, an Australian vermouth. Really, we're just introducing the gin to the concept of vermouth. We're not letting vermouth really even play that much of a supporting role. This is a cameo from the vermouth. Just as you blink and you'll miss it, just the teeniest splash of vermouth. But we're not quite done. We need our cocktail onions. I went and bought some cocktail onions specifically for this. I have no other use for them. Let's see if I can spear a couple. I am not very experienced in dealing with cocktail onions, but this appears to be working. That too. Oh, look, I'm going to go to town. I've heard a rumor it's bad luck to use an even number of cocktail onions. And a cheeky fourth one has jumped on the end, so it can go away. I'm going to put 3 cocktail onions in. Now, this makes the saltiness of olives would be salty as well, but the saltiness of the cocktail onions make this a somewhat savory drink. It still looks like I didn't put enough in, but honestly, that's like 2.5 ounces in there. That's fine. But yeah, in all seriousness, this will be my first Gibson Martini. I usually use my preferred garnish for martinis is a twist of lemon. You do you. But if you want it to be a Gibson, it is the cocktail onion. So it's just like clearly the gin's in there, but just the splash of vermouth and a little bit of saltiness from the cocktail onions is going to just give a little bit of depth and a bit of difference, so you're not just drinking straight gin. Seriously, some people, when they say dry, they basically mean give me a glass of cold gin. And this is not that far off it, but there's a splash of vermouth. There's the cocktail onions. Yes, if you wanted to make it a dirty Gibson, you'd put a bit of the brine from the pickled onions in here. But I've kept it relatively simple. You know what else this reminds me of? Just randomly, a TV recommendation. If you're a Netflix person, The Queen's Gambit, which I watched recently, was very good, very compelling. I'm not even into chess. It's about a chess prodigy. It's set in the 1960s, and Gibson Martinis feature in it. Don't judge her too harshly when she orders a Gibson on the rocks. I judged her really harshly. Mrs. Angry found it hilarious when she ordered the Gibson on the rocks and she got it in a bloody rocks glass. And I just went, oh my God, she's supposed to be smart. But yeah, you do you, I always say. And I'll try really hard not to judge. But this is kicking off the weekend. I think it's in a little bit of style. A Gibson Martini for Gibson Martini Day. I hope wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you're looking after yourself. Hey, a Gibson Martini might not be for you. Then again, it just might. You know, you do your ratios. Don't let people bully you. Don't let them push you around. Traditionally, this is very dry, but if you like more vermouth, you do it your way, okay? I've done it my way. I'm going to enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed that. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, it'd be great if you did subscribe. Tell a friend, ring the bell so you get notifications when I upload, and come back. Let me know your preferred martini, maybe, because there are literally, I actually worked it out, just even in the classic range of ratios and garnishes, without even getting into stuff that's called a martini, but it's not really a martini. You get hundreds and hundreds of variations when you mix and match things. And then when you take into account the thousands of different gins and vermouths around the world, there's close enough to an infinite number of drinks that could be called a martini without diverging from the components being gin and vermouth. So it's worth an experiment. I hope you look after yourself. Hope you have a bit of fun. Yeah, try a martini, even if it's not your usual thing. You never know. I'm going to finish this one and hope to see you again soon. But for now, cheers. Turn all this shit off. Woo. Okay. Oofta. Okay, sit on down. Let's bring the camera back. All right, that's done. I'm done for the week now. Angelina, you like the tie? Oh my God, they killed Kenny. He's, well, if you see it in detail, he's killed in various different ways on here. Angelina. Oh God, did I say Southern Strength? Jesus, Kirsten, you can't trust me. Royal Blood Gin. You're absolutely right. I mean, I don't know why I was checking on you, right? From us. Nintendo Lunchbox. Hello to you. Guess who's back? Justin's back. You're going to talk about Bofa now? I don't know. I'm ripping on you, dude, but happy to see you. Yes. You know what? I have never eaten a cocktail onion. I'm going to eat one for the first time. Because I like onion, so why wouldn't I like a cocktail onion? I know. It's like, it's vinegary. It's the onion sweetness with the vinegar from the preserve. No, it's a. Justin, I know it's Ligma. I thought you might be changing your material. Yes, that was funny. It was between way back, the Christmas episode where they didn't kill Kenny. And then they eventually got sick of killing Kenny. So they didn't do it every episode. What are they up to? They're like 20 seasons or something. Fucking amazing. Even if you hate the show, I give the show I hate, and it runs for 20 fucking seasons. Grudging respect. And I don't hate South Park. I think there's a lot that's stupid about it, and there's a lot that makes me laugh about it. And I haven't watched it seriously for probably 5 or 6 years. But yeah, I do a hat tip just for fucking running for 20 seasons. And again, you know, Simpsons has sucked for 15 years, but they're still going at like 30 seasons. And fucking hat tip to keeping that cash cow going. Because apparently the most expensive advertising on American TV is during The Simpsons. So fucking kudos for keeping that cash cow running. Nintendo Lunchbox, you reckon they're 25 seasons? Let's check. Because I just don't know. South Park season. South Park seasons. 23 seasons. They're coming into, oh wait, the show was renewed up to the 26th seasons. So there's going to be, it says the 23rd season premiered a year ago. 308 episodes of South Park have aired. They've actually booked them for at least 26 seasons. 24th season hasn't come out yet. Oof, 26 seasons. God damn. And yeah, well, Simpsons is over 30 seasons. And all that, like I said, you can argue all you like that The Simpsons has sucked for 15 years, and I actually won't argue with you. But I still, you know, a little bit of difference, because all the good animation we're getting now, adult-oriented animation, we owe to The Simpsons, because there was no such fucking thing as primetime animation before The Simpsons sort of cracked that nut. So, yeah, I will always give them credit for actually making primetime animation a viable thing. because in the last 30 years, there's been a fuck ton of really good shows. So apparently there hasn't been a new episode of South Park Air for more than a year, but there is more coming. And like I said, they're being renewed for at least 26 seasons. So there should be at least 3 more seasons. God damn. And you know, the way they make that, like they make a whole episode in 1 week, because they often like to be topical. So they make the fucking episode the week before it goes to air, which is, Jesus, that's a weird thing to do to yourself. It means, like, how many shows do they put in a season? Okay, season 23. How many episodes were there? 1, 2. There were only 10 episodes in season 23. So that means they work themselves to death for 10 weeks, and then they've got the rest of the year off. How many did they do in the first season? 13 in the first season. So they make, 10 to 12 episodes a season. You're a fan, Angelina. Can't beat South Park. Yeah, I mean, what are like newer ones? Like I've always liked Archer and Bob's Burgers. Both have the same voice actor, H. John Benjamin. Big Mouth on Netflix, I think, is fucking hilarious. Apparently, the Star Trek Below Decks is good, but you can't watch it legally in Australia, so I haven't seen it. What others? I liked BoJack Horseman. Not everyone did, but I quite liked BoJack Horseman. What else has been happening? King of the Hill was a classic, I thought. King of the Hill ran for like 15 years. Yeah, and I think that's hilarious, Abigail. They use editing software that's used for big budget movies to do that simulation of the craft, because the first season or so was actually done with cut out craft paper, which they pioneered, but then they got software that simulated that, which I find hilarious. Multi-million-dollar software simulating 2D things, incredibly flat 2D things cut out of craft paper. I think that's hilarious that they do that. I think of what the other good animations are. I'm sure I'm blanking on a whole bunch. There's over the last 20 years, there's been some great ones on Adult Swim. They've done heaps of really good ones. Oh, thanks, Angelina. Rick and Morty. I knew I was missing a big contemporary one. Rick and Morty, I do enjoy, as fucking horrific as some of their fan base is. And Rick and Morty has a fucking terrible fan base. I really enjoy Rick and Morty. I really do. So I probably just don't associate with public Rick and Morty events because I worry about the dickheads being attracted to it. Yeah, are there any other contemporary ones that are good? I saw there was a new one aimed at adults by the people who did the regular show, which was a really surreal kids one on Cartoon Network. And I watched the first couple of episodes of it. It wasn't terrible, but it didn't draw me in. I might try and watch some more. Oh, Angelina, Futurama, that's another good one. I watched the one Matt Groening's done for Netflix, Disenchanted, and it's beautiful and it has its moments, but it's not really doing it for me. Nintendo Lunchbox, you must have missed when I was making my Gibson Martini, I mentioned Queen's Gambit because they drink, she and her mum drink Gibson Martini in Queen's Gambit. Very good show. not animation. Yes, Megalich. Venture Brothers is probably my favorite of the Adult Swim cartoons. I personally think American Dad and Family Guy are shit. Oh God, classic. How long ago was Happy Tree Friends? Was that the 90s or the early noughties? I've got a bunch of Happy Tree Friends DVDs. That's how old it is. That was the way to enjoy it on DVD. Yeah, Angelina, Disenchantment. Yeah, potential, but a bit rough. Hasn't got. Oh, what was that? Was another that Final Space on Netflix. I watched that and it wasn't terrible, but it didn't get me in. Like that for me, Final Space. They have trouble getting the balance between drama and comedy in that. Oh yes, I do watch F is for Family, Mega Leech. I like that. I think Paradise PD is the biggest steaming pile of shit. Like I couldn't watch more than one episode. I might have started watching a second episode. That's just fucking terrible. But I like F is for Family. Yes, Aquatine Hunger Force, another classic from Adult Swim. I have a bunch of Aquatine Hunger Force DVDs as well. So if I'm ever unemployed and into drugs, I'll be set because I have a bunch of the really weird old Adult Swim animations. Aquatine Hunger Force and Sea Lab 2021, Frisky Dingo, Venture Brothers. Just sit on the lounge in my underwear doing bong hits and watching really weird animations. Hopefully that won't happen. But Stella, I absolutely understand being turned off Rick and Morty by the fan base because there's a very large section of the fan base that is fucking terrible and just like the fucking worst. I have trouble processing just how bad the Rick and Morty fan base can be. Fucking terrible people. To the extent, like one of the more famous bits that's like a stupid Rick and Morty fan saying you have to be intelligent to understand it and blah, 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 was actually, so Abigail, you're actually referencing the one I'm talking about. There's this thing saying how, if you don't like Rick and Morty, it's because you're not smart enough. You have to have a high IQ. That was actually a shit post. The guy who wrote it thought it was incredibly obvious that it was sarcasm. He thought everyone knew he was shit posting, and he got really weirded out when it got taken seriously that people thought it was a real Rick and Morty fan being unironic. And then people had to break it to him like, no, dude, the actual fan base is worse than that. You thought you were pushing it. No, you haven't actually reached as far as the actual fan base goes. So, yes. Oh, Kirsten, one of your favorite romance novels is being made into a Netflix series and you're conflicted. There's some very good stuff on Netflix. Some very ordinary stuff on there too. Angelina, great concern. The majority of current shows are fucking cartoons. I watch a lot of them. I like them. I try and mix it because I watch more comedies than dramas, but I'm trying to catch up on some classic dramas like Peaky Blinders, which I really enjoy, but I haven't been binging per se. I only started watching it this year, and I'm only up to season 3, so I haven't been rushing through it. I've got a few I keep meaning to watch. We are in a golden age of television, really. No matter what your tastes are, there are some very good options for you out there. And obviously what's good varies from person to person. But I think there's so much being made that no matter what you're into, there is good quality stuff happening. So have a bit more of my martini. Oof. Angelina, my favorite comedy. That's quite hard. Because it also changes as time goes by. It's like there's nothing that I jealously go, this is it, this is the best ever. I mean, things I'm watching currently, Schitt's Creek, I think, is lovely and warm. It's so funny because the lead characters are so fucking objectionable, but you end up loving them. It's actually this really gentle show. And I've been watching, I only just started watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine this year, and I think I'm almost caught up with all the episodes that have been made. More recently, I like The Good Place. I really enjoyed The Good Place. What have I enjoyed in the past? The IT Crowd, because I'm a nerd. I grew up on shit like The Goodies. David, so much content to watch. Here I am rewatching much. Man, watch comfort stuff, man. There is nothing wrong with rewatching stuff. It gets a bad rap, but particularly when you're stressed, watching something that you know you like even with movies, there's a whole bunch of movies that come out in the last year that I want to watch that I haven't watched. And I'm just back to, I could watch this classic again because it's just so good and I like watching it. Safi, you're going to wait till The Mandalorian finishes to watch it all at once. I didn't get Disney Plus until recently, so I was able to binge watch the first season. I didn't do it all in one day. I did it over a couple of weeks. And now I'm watching each week's episode one by one. Oh, good. Angelina remembers The Goodies, yes. Yeah, Invisible Chicken. There's books, there's shows, there's animes, there's all the stuff you've got to keep up with. I'm doing podcasts as well. Yeah, Nintendo Lunchbox. If you grew up prior to the noughties, you just watched reruns. You're so used to watching reruns. You watch reruns all the time. Suffer is the IT crowd just like Angry's work. No. I don't work in that type of environment. And it was sort of an extreme parody of what IT people get anyway. But no, the environments I've worked in are not quite that clueless. So what are my main things? Like I'm trying to get through like Schitt's Creek, and I'm only up to like season 3 of that, and there's I think 6 seasons of it, 5 or 6 seasons. I think I'm on season 6 of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which I think is the most recent season. Oh yeah, COVID. How lucky are we to have the internet during COVID? If that had happened when I was a fucking kid in a country town, oh my God, life was boring enough. But to just be fucking cut off from the world, shit. No. David, I'm not sure what you're referring to. It's good, worth a watch. If I've said something, I think it's worth a watch. Abigail, you've had jobs just like the IT crowd, all the way down to facepalmy stupid users. Yeah. Yes, excellent challenge, Angelina. Anyone who doesn't like The Goodies, trial by combat with black pudding. Eki Thump, the Welsh martial art. Is it Welsh? Or is it? It's not Welsh, is it? It's something else. The blood pudding. Anyway. So if you got crickets, I haven't heard. We get cicadas around here sometimes, and hey, if they start, I'm going to start. If cicadas can just sit in a tree screaming, why can't I sit in a tree screaming? Oh, David, Schitt's Creek, yes. No. As I was saying, Schitt's Creek is. I find it really interesting because I've seen some of my friends on social media saying they started watching it and the characters are just fucked. I hate them. I go, yeah, the characters are fucked. And it's amazing how warm the show ends up getting. I do recommend Schitt's Creek. It might feel like a slow burn, like it's not an instant buster gut laughing, but you end up getting really on board with the characters. Safa, is Central Intelligence, is that movie with The Rock and Kevin Hart? I haven't seen it. Whatever it is, I haven't seen it. I feel like that's the name of a movie with The Rock and Kevin Hart. But whatever it is, I haven't seen it. Whew. Oh, man. That Navy strength gin really lingers on your tongue, like in a good way. So it's like it's really, you just breathe it in. It's like this really sort of mentholy, like, yeah. Like people always talk about, what are the botanicals in the thing? I can't taste them. Yet people say all these things. Strongest creation so far, yet still smooth as silk. Old man saltbush, sea parsley, and mountain pepper leaf boost its classic cardamom heat. Because when I want to spoil myself, I don't mess around. So says Brogan. Brogan's way. She knows what she's about. She knows what she's about. And yeah, that makes sense. I'd actually agree with that. That spicy sort of heat is definitely here in this. Angelina, I would look considerably younger if I dyed my hair. In fact, prior to COVID, I always dyed my hair. And so if you look back on a video from just 6 months ago, I look real different. And I got real lazy in COVID and my hair has grown and I haven't dyed it. So I'm looking grey. I don't know. I'm just getting to the stage where I think maybe I should act my age. I don't know. Safa, you like the silver fox? There, thanks, buddy. The more expensive, the better taste. It's okay. What you get, Safa, with the more expensive alcohols and the reward in taste, it's a curve. You get the law of diminishing returns. Like really cheap stuff is by and large fucking terrible. The mid-range stuff, the big name brand mid-range stuff is basically good. And then the stuff that's more expensive, like up to twice as expensive as the mid-range name brand stuff, that's noticeably better. It's noticeably better than the mid-range stuff. But then you get the stuff that's like, okay, so you get in Australia, prices in Australia at least, like, let's talk whiskey. You get, Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, $50, 700 mils. You get a good Australian whiskey, is about $100, and there's a couple reasons for that. One of the reasons is it's better, and an American bourbon that costs 50 to 100% more than like Jim Beam is much better. But then you literally get stuff that costs $200, $300, $500, $1,000, and for a particular palate, you can argue they're better, but they're not 5 times better. They're marginally better. At a certain point, the price is usually actually about rarity. It's like if you're paying, $500 for a bottle of whiskey or a bottle of tequila, it's hard to get. There aren't that many of them made. And the price just keeps going up. Shit, even fucking Costco sell a particular whiskey that costs more than $10,000 for a bottle, because a very small number of them are made. It's just something for rich people to spend their money on. There's a whole industry dedicated solely to giving rich people something to spend their money on. Safa, your US friend says Aussie beer tastes bitter compared to US beer. I'm not a beer drinker. I have no idea. American beer, I always laugh at the old Monty Python line from the 70s of why is American beer like sex in a canoe? Because they're both fucking close to water. So Angelina, you reckon you judge for being a blonde? I could dye my hair blonde, bleach it. Normally I colour it brown. Or if I'm feeling silly, I'll put like a purple color. So all this gray picks up the purple, natural highlights. I'm still, I'm in a transition phase. I might just roll with, the silver fox angry, acted my age, or I might dye my hair again. I probably will if I go back out into the job market, which hopefully won't happen till at least halfway through next year, because my current contract runs to the end of June next year and might go beyond that, but it's still at least then. So hopefully I don't have to go into the job market until at least then. But I might dye my hair for job interviews, because ageism is a real thing in IT. It's not, the be all and end all, but it is a bit of a thing. So don't know what I'll do. Whether this is permanent or whether this is temporary, who knows? Safa, yes, of course the Victorian government uses antivirus. Everyone does. You tend to have managed networks in the big corporates and government departments where there's a vendor who's responsible for the security and deploy the antivirus and the firewall and all that shenanigans. Safi, your mum's going back to fruit picking. She's about my age. Good on your mum. Jesus, that's harder work than I want to do. Keep you fucking fit, going out there and bringing fruit picking. Angelina Gray looks awesome. Refer Richard Gere as proof. Yes, that's who I model myself on, definitely. Okay, Safa, she's a qualified project manager, and she said, fuck all that noise, I'm going to go pick fruit. Honestly, I can understand that. I really can. The corporate world, the office world can fucking get you down. And sometimes you need to get away from it. I mean, I got away from it for about a year. I was just doing YouTube stuff for a year, and I was trying to plan this big event, which fell through and cost me a fucking fortune and took me a couple of fucking years to recover from. I had to go back to work, and it took me a couple of years to recover financially and get out of debt. So fuck that stuff from now on. Ungrateful fucks wouldn't buy tickets. Hate. Anyway, that was me doing an experiment, following a dream that kicked me in the nuts. So, it's because she can't find work. Whatever. So maybe there are challenges. I'm super lucky with this job I ended up being in when COVID kicked in. Because the previous job, I was working at a uni, and unis got hit real fucking hard by COVID, with international students having to go home and the unis losing billions. And if I had still been working at a uni, they would have dropped me in a fucking heartbeat, and it probably would have been quite difficult to get another job. Whereas I had just been in this job a couple months before COVID kicked in, and I happened to be on a really good team doing really good work, and management likes that we're kicking goals and stuff, and so they extended us till end of next financial year, which in terms of fucking security, oh my God, it's such a relief. I mean, I could have survived for quite a while without employment. I'm glad I don't have to. And also because I contract as a company, I'm my own company. So I definitely would have gone, if I didn't have work, would have gone straight on the old JobKeeper payment. I would have, it was really weird. I would have applied as a company, say, I have this employee that I need to pay when I've got no income. And then I would have paid myself as the employee, which is a bit weird. But anyway. But fortunately, I didn't have to do that because I did not lose work, and you only got JobKeeper if you lost work. So it's all good. I feel very lucky. I feel very fortunate to be in the situation I am, because it's super fucking stressful for lots of people. Angelina, thank God giving you the opportunity to retire early. Nice. You worked hard and you retired early. Fucking go you. You earned it, is all I'm going to say. You earned it. So when you don't have an OEM include their pre-packed antivirus for month? Not in the corporate world, man. That's just for a personal computer. Corporate world doesn't rely on an OEM type arrangement. You actually sign a contract with a provider to have enterprise-wide antivirus. So you absolutely do not do the sort of built-in antivirus. You get clean machines that you buy wholesale, and then you like have a standard desktop image that everyone has, and that includes their antivirus. Which is weird, David. Sorry, we're jumping all over the place with conversation, so I'm not sure what you're finding. Oh my God, it's after 10 o'clock. What the fuck? I didn't even realize that. I just kind of, wait, it says I've been streaming for 2 hours and 6 minutes. It was only 1 hour last time. See, I really enjoy talking with you people. The fucking time flies. Sorry, I took too big a hit of that. Shouldn't breathe in when it's in my mouth. Breathe in when it's out of my mouth, and you still get the aftertaste. It's really good. I am not eating those cocktail onions, though. So thank you for the company this evening, everyone. That second hour really flew. Yes, Sofa. COVID flies with friends on stream. So you just got out of the shower. Love camping, but you got to wash off the dirt and smoke and crawl in bed. Yes. Oh, David, that's how it works, because I am both the company and the employee. How it works, okay, as a contractor, I signed the contract as the director of my company, and so the whoever I'm contracting through, they pay my company the contract rate, and then I pay myself as the employee a wage out of that, and I have other stuff that are business expenses the business pays for. So yeah, it's really weird. The people I'm working for pay my company, and my company pays me. So with regards to like JobKeeper, if I hadn't had a contract running, as a company, I would have applied to the government and said, yep, I've got an employee and I need JobKeeper for them. And the government would have paid my company JobKeeper, and then I would have paid myself a wage out of that. It is a bit weird. It's definitely a bit weird. You like that as a quote, Megaleech? Shouldn't breathe in when it's in my mouth. Angelina, 35 is an early retirement, and if you did that, you fucking earned it. You must have worked hard. Fucking kudos to you, quite honestly. That is excellent work on your part. Anywho, it is after 10. Once again, appreciate your company. Time really flew. Had a lot of fun. Good talks, good conversations. And now I'll sleep soundly, having had that Gibson Martini. And there won't be a stream tomorrow night. Probably going to watch a couple of episodes of The Crown with Mrs. Angry. Monday nights, like a night take off to just sit together and watch TV. And but I'll probably be back on Tuesday. So you all take care of yourselves, and see you again soon.